Hello and welcome back, guys. We're now starting a new story, Izuku the Doom Slayer, written by Tip Top. You can find author's profile link in the description. Let's begin the prologue. All Might looked around but eventually gave up. Meanwhile, Izuku was on top of a rooftop with the sludge villain. Sludge villain, so you were born quirkless, huh? Izuku, yeah, sludge villain, well I guess we have something in common. Izuku, you have a quirk. I don't. Sludge villain, they shunned you out while, they called me a villain for my quirk. Izuku, sludge villain, listen, I know it's hard, but don't listen to them. They don't know the hardships of being like us. Izuku, maybe. Sludge villain, just remember, if you're ever alone just know that I'm here for you. Izuku, you know, it's kind of funny that a villain is helping me. Sludge villain, chuckles, yeah, I guess it is pretty funny. Izuku, thank you. Sludge villain, for what? Izuku, for being here for me. Sludge villain, heh, anytime kid. He says as they both just sit there, watching the sunset. Sludge villain, well I should get going, the heroes will find me if I stay here. Izuku, wait. Sludge villain, huh? Izuku, will I ever see you again? Sludge villain, who knows, maybe we will see each other again. Izuku, alright then. Sludge villain, take care kid, and the villain leaves Izuku. Izuku, what do I do now? I don't want to go back home, but I have nowhere else to go. As he thinks of this, a red portal opens behind Izuku. Izuku turns around and stares at the portal. As he does, someone comes out of the portal with a demon's head in their hand and a shotgun in the other. Vega, this is the wrong place. Vega, I'm sorry Doom Slayer, there seems to be a malfunction in my systems. Doom guy, can you fix it? Vega, yes, just give me some time. Doom guy, he sits down on the floor. As he sits down he grunts in pain as he holds his side. Vega, Doom Slayer, your vitals are weak, perhaps it's time you settle down. Doom guy, no, I will never rest until all demons are destroyed. Vega, maybe you can find someone to do this for you. Doom guy, no Vega, then how about you get someone to help you in fighting these demons? Doom guy, Vega, Doom Slayer, you're getting older, the older you get the harder it will be for you to fight against them. You may be strong now but in the future you will need help. I recommend you find someone soon. Doom guy, Izuku is watching Doom guy sitting on the floor. Izuku, excuse me. As soon as he says that, Doom guy aims his shotgun at Izuku. Izuku holds his hands on the air while Doom guy stares at him. Doom guy, who are you? He says with an intimidating voice. Izuku, I'm Izuku, just Izuku. Doom guy, no last name. Izuku, let's just say I don't like my last name. Doom guy, what do you want anyway? Izuku, I couldn't help but overhear your conversation, and I want to help. Doom guy, you want to help? Izuku, why yes. Doom guy, sorry kid but you're too young. Izuku, I don't care if I'm too young, I want to be useful for once, so please let me help. Doom guy thinks for a bit and remembers what Vega told him. Vega, you're getting old. Doom Slayer, and eventually you're gonna need help. I recommend you find someone soon. Doom guy, fine, but that means your training is gonna be tough and dangerous. This means it could kill you. Are you sure you want to join me? Izuku, yes, for once I want to be able to do something useful. Vega, Doom Slayer, the portal is ready for use. Doom guy, okay Vega. Doom guy stands up and walks to the portal. Doom guy, come on, we have some work to do. Izuku nods and follows the Doom Slayer into the portal. And thus begins the making of the strongest person in the world and hill. Izuku, the Doom Slayer. Izuku's return. He looks down and sees a small girl with white long hair and a small horn on her forehead. He crouches down and helps her up. I am sorry, I didn't mean to dash, you shouldn't run off like that. Eri freezes in fear and looks down. Overhaul, I'm sorry about her, she is so clumsy around people. Izuku, Overhaul, not much of a talker I see, well I'll just take her now if you don't mind. He says as he walks towards them. Eri then grips on Izuku's armor and Izuku looks down. He sees she is in fear and can see a few tears coming out of her eyes. Izuku, those bandages. Eri, please don't let him take me. She whispered to Izuku in fear. Izuku. Izuku can feel Eri shaking and can feel her gripping hard onto his armor. Overhaul reaches for Eri and as he is about to grab her, Izuku grabs his arm. Overhaul, don't touch me. He shouts as he pulls his arm away from Izuku. Overhaul begins to scratch his arm. Overhaul, I tried to be nice formal about this, but you shouldn't have done that. Overhaul takes his glove off and is about to presses it on the floor. Overhaul, I get over her now or else someone else dies because of you. Eri gasps and lets go of Izuku. She is about to run to Overhaul until Izuku stops her. Eri, please let me go, he'll kill you. She whispers to Izuku. Izuku doesn't care and picks her up in his arms. Izuku, it's okay, I'll protect you, he whispers to her. She looked up to Izuku as she hears his voice. His voice was kinda deep yet it sounded soothing to her ears. Izuku, just close your eyes, I'll keep you safe, he whispers to her. She closes her eyes and lays her head on his arm. Overhaul, Gur. He pressed his hand on the ground and concrete spikes are flying at Izuku. Izuku trusts his back to Overhaul and covers Eri. The concrete break in contact with his armor and begins to walk towards Overhaul backwards. Overhaul, what? Overhaul begins to send more spikes at Izuku but they have no effect. Izuku gets closer and closer to Overhaul. Overhaul then stops sending spikes and runs off into the alleyway. Izuku turns around and runs after him. Izuku is in the alleyway and stops. He looks around him and as he is looking away, Overhaul jumps at Izuku and reaches out for him. Overhaul, this will kill you for Sue dash, he is cut off as a blade comes out of Izuku's gauntlet and he swings it at Overhaul, cutting his hand off. Overhaul screams in pain as he falls to his knee. Izuku retracts to blade on pulls out his double-barrel shotgun. Overhaul, DMNIT, I won't lose to you. Overhaul reaches out for Izuku again but his hand is blown off by Izuku's shotgun. Overhaul screams in pain and falls to the floor. Izuku then aims his shotgun at Overhaul. Overhaul, stay away from me. Izuku is about to shoot Overhaul until Mariko, hold it right there, villain. End of flashback. Izuku, I think her name was Mariko. What the hell did she call me a villain for? He then remembers he was aiming his shotgun at a man bleeding out with no hands on the floor. Izuku, oh right, Izuku gets up and takes the blanket off his bed. He then leaves his room and head toward the living room. Izuku, but what was the other woman's name? She seemed interesting. He then goes to the couch and covers Eri in the blanket. Izuku, I could tell she was scared, but she still continued to fight and that Mariko woman, she didn't care about herself when that woman tried to help her. Maybe those two are different, he thinks to himself as he stands up and begins to leave but Eri grabs his hand, stopping him in his track. Eri, please don't leave me, she is still asleep but seems to be having a nightmare. Izuku, sigh. Izuku picks Eri up and lays down on the couch. He lays Eri on his chest and covers themselves in the blanket. Eri then calms down and snuggles her head on Izuku's chest. Izuku places his arm over Eri and she smiles in her sleep. Izuku, this feels nice, he then begins to fall asleep with her in his arms and falls asleep. Taking care of Eri and as Doomguy leaves he has a thought. Doomguy, it's been so long since I have felt close to someone other than Izuku, how does she do it? How can she make anyone so happy with just a smile? And he leaves through the front door. Izuku, okay Eri, I got you some clothes for you to wear, he says as he pulls out some of the clothes from the bag. Eri, oh wow, they look so comfortable. Izuku, well, let's get you changed, he says as him and Eri walk into his room. Small time skip, Eri has finished changing and is tired. She is wearing a blanket sleeper that looks like a white bunny. If you don't know what a blanket sleeper is, it's basically a full-body pajama. Eri, Papa, I'm tired. Izuku, I am too, let's go to bed, he says as he picks her up and lays her down on his bed. She scoots over and Izuku lays down in bed with her. Eri, Papa. Izuku, yes Eri. Eri, will you leave me? Izuku, leave you? Why would I leave you? Eri, it's because my quirk is a curse. Izuku, what do you mean? Eri, my quirk lets me rewind whatever I am touching, but I can't control it, and I could make someone disappear. Izuku, listen Eri, he says as he hugs her. Izuku, quirks are what make you special from others, and your quirk is a blessing, just like you are a blessing in my life. Eri looks up to Izuku. Izuku, so don't listen to them, because I think your quirk is amazing. Eri is shocked by Izuku's kind words and starts to cry. Izuku, Eri. What wrong? Eri hugs Izuku with all her strength, surprising Izuku a bit. Eri cries in his chest and Izuku holds her as he pets her head. Izuku, did I say something wrong? Eri, and no papa. Izuku, then what's wrong? Eri, I feel so happy. She shouts as she looks up to Izuku in tears as she has a smile. Izuku sighs in relief and lays down with her in his arms. After Eri cries for a bit, she calms down and is even more tired. Eri, Papa. Izuku, Eri, I yawn love you Papa, she says as she dozes off to sleep. Izuku smiles a bit and caresses her hair. Izuku, I love you too, Eri, and they both fall asleep. Meanwhile, we see the pro-heroes in a meeting. Sir Night-Eye, now I know you're wondering why I have gathered you all here today. Endeavor, yes, why have you brought us here? The other heroes also question why they're here, except Mariko and Ryukyu. Sir Night-Eye, well, these two had an encounter with Kai Chisaki. Fat Gum, whoa, really? Calmy, what happened? Did you catch him? Sir Night-Eye, they did, but they found him on the floor with no hands. The heroes are shocked by what they heard. Sir Night-Eye, and they know what happened. Endeavor, well, what are they waiting for? Tell us what happened. Mariko, DMN chill. Endeavor, Ryukyu, when we were on our patrols we heard screaming come from an alleyway, so we ran towards it. Mariko, when we got there we found Chisaki on the floor bleeding out with no hands and someone was standing over him. Ryukyu, he has a shotgun aiming at Chisaki while he was holding Eri. Mariko, I immediately jumped at him and kicked him in the head but it did nothing. Ryukyu, he grabbed her leg and threw her in a dumpster, leaving me to fight alone. Mariko, I don't know what happened cause I was stuck in a dumpster. Ryukyu, I'm gonna get to the point and say he got away with Eri. Endeavor, why didn't you go in your dragon form? Ryukyu, if I did the people in the building would be in danger. Sir Night-Eye, that was smart of you Ryukyu. Ryukyu, thank you, anyways we didn't get to see what he looked like but we know he wears some sort of armor, he's tall and pretty strong. Fat Gum, that's not a lot to go with Sir Night-Eye, at least we know what to look for, I want you all to find this man. Once we do we can find Eri and take her to safety. Fat Gum, well what are we waiting for? Let's go. The heroes agree and Sir Night-Eye dismisses the meeting. Mariko, what do you think about this Ryukyu? Ryukyu, I'm not sure really, he didn't try to kill me yet we don't know what he wants with Eri. Mariko, maybe he just took her for her safety. I mean I didn't look like he hurt her and you could tell he was holding her carefully. Ryukyu, yeah and I noticed that when you kicked him he covered Eri to protect her. Mariko, well we'll find out when we catch him. Ryukyu, yes, but he is very strong. He was able to take your kick. Mirko, you're right about that but I'm sure we'll figure out how to catch him. Ryukyu, yeah, well I'll see you later Mariko. Mariko, you too Ryukyu. And they both go their separate ways. A decision to make. We start the chapter off by Jairu practicing on her guitar. As she is tuning her guitar, she remembers she got Izuku's number. Jairu, maybe I should give him a call, she says as she puts her guitar away. She picks her phone up from the bed and is about to call Izuku. Jairu, wait, should I call him or text him? He could still be asleep so maybe I should text him, but if I do then I might miss the message. Jairu thinks for a bit and decides to call him. She calls Izuku and waits for a bit. Meanwhile, Izuku is in the kitchen as he has a cookbook and a pink apron on. Eri is in the living room watching cartoons as she is drinking her choco milk. As Izuku is trying to make pancakes, his phone starts to ring in the living room. Izuku, Eri, could you pass me my phone? Eri, coming papa. She says as she puts her choco milk on the living room table. She grabs his phone that was on the couch and runs over to Izuku with it. Eri, here papa. Izuku, thank you, he says as she gives him his phone. As she runs back to the couch and continues to drink her choco milk, Izuku answers the phone. Izuku, hello. Jairu, good morning Izuku. Izuku, good morning Kyoka. Jairu, so, I wanted to know if you were doing anything today. Izuku, I am taking care of Eri. Jairu, who's Eri? Izuku, she is my adoptive daughter. Jairu, you adopted a little girl. Izuku, she had nowhere else to go, so why not? Jairu, I think it's sweet of you. Izuku, well that's nice to know. Jairu, anyways, can I come over? I would love to meet her. Izuku, sure, I'll come pick you up. Jairu, that sound great, I live at #######. Izuku, okay, I'll see you soon. Jairu, you too, Izu. Izuku, Izu. Jairu, sorry, it's just a nickname I thought of. Izuku, it's okay, I like it. Jairu, see cool, I'll talk to you later. Izu. Izuku, yeah, see you later Kyoka, and the hang up. Izuku is blushing as he likes his nickname that was given by Jairu. But then he smells something burning. Izuku, the pancakes. And he rushes over to the oven. Eri laughs at the sight of her papa running around with a pan that's on fire, in a pink apron. Meanwhile, Jairu has just ended the call and puts her phone down while she is blushing. Jairu, he called me by my first name. She says as she covers her face with her hands and lays back on the bed. Her earphone jacks start to play with themselves and she uncovers her face. Jairu, I should go take a shower, she says as she gets up and walks to her bathroom. Meanwhile, after Izuku's little incident, he decides to try again tomorrow. Right now Izuku and Eri are walking over to Jairu's house. He is holding Eri's hand while they are walking down the road. Eri, where are we going papa? Izuku, we're just going to visit a friend of mine. Eri, oh, okay papa. They continue to walk a little more and as they hear commotion nearby. Eri, papa, what was that? Izuku, I don't know but maybe we should ignore it. Eri, but papa, what if someone is hurt? Izuku, then it's not our problem. Eri, but we have to help. Izuku, we can't, maybe I could. Beautified, you might get hurt. Eri, please papa, if we can do something then we have to help. Izuku looks towards the direction of the commotion and starts to think. Eri, please papa. Okay, I wanted to try something, so in this story, there will be choices I give you all. This will change how the story will go and, there will be consequences by the path you all choose for Izuku. So what will Izuku do? Will he go to the commotion with Eri? Or will he ignore what's happening and continue to Jairu's house? A decision was made. Eri, okay papa, I won't. But little did they both know, Kyoka and Mika both heard what they said with their quirk. Mika, for someone so intimidating and serious when he wants to be, he likes SpongeBob. That's kinda cute. Kyoka, oh my god, a big strong dude who loves SpongeBob is cute. They all go to the couch and sit down. Izuku is sitting in the middle with Eri on his lap, while Kyoka and Jairu sit next to him. Izuku puts on the 2004 SpongeBob movie. Which in my opinion is a good movie. Time skip, the movie ends and Izuku stretches his arms. Izuku, did you like the movie? Eri. She doesn't answer him. Izuku, Eri. He looks down and sees Eri is asleep on his chest. Mika, it seems she fell asleep. Izuku, yeah, and so is Kyoka, he says as he looks towards Kyoka. Kyoka is asleep with her head on his shoulder. Mika, well I should get Kyoka home. Izuku, you can sleep here if you want. Mika, oh, are you sure? Izuku, yeah, I don't have an extra room for her so she'll have to sleep on the couch. Mika, it's okay, I'm sure she'll be fine with it. Izuku, okay, could you take Eri to her room, it's right next to mine, he says as he gives her to Mika. Mika, sure, I'll be right back. she says as she walks to Eri's room. Izuku holds Kyoka's head as he stands up and lays her head down on a pillow. He leaves Kyoka and goes to his room. He enters his room and walks over to his closet. Opening it, he pulls out a blanket from the top of the closet and closes the closet, walking back to the living room. He enters the living room and goes over to Kyoka, covering her with the blanket. Mika comes back and sees Izuku. Mika, I put Eri to bed, but where will I sleep? Izuku, you'll sleep with me, if that's okay with you. Mika, I get to sleep with Izuku. Yes. Mika, oh of course, let's go to bed. Izuku, and they both go to Izuku's room. Once they enter the room, they get in bed and lay next to each other. They both feel awkward about this. Mika wants to say something but can't think of anything. That is until Izuku turns around, wraps his arm around Mika's waist. Mika, Izuku. Izuku, Mika, why you're she is about to say something but thinks for a moment. She decides to just let it happen. She turns around and hugs Izuku. They both feel comfort as they lay there in each other's arms. Mika, you Izuku. Izuku, He looks down to Mika and as he does, she lands a kiss on his lips. Izuku is surprised but enjoys the kiss. Mika breaks the kiss and looks in Izuku's eyes. Mika, I am sorry, I didn't mean to. She is interrupted by Izuku as his hand caresses her cheek. Izuku, it's okay Mika, he says as he kisses Mika on the lips. Mika's eyes widen as she feels Izuku's kiss. But she enjoys it as she holds Izuku's cheek and closes her eyes, enjoying every second. They break the kiss and Izuku moves Mika and is on top of her. Mika holds Izuku's face in her hands and brings him closer to her face. Mika, see, can we do it? Izuku, do you mean section? Mika, don't say it like that. Izuku laughs silently as she covers her face, blushing. After laughing, he slowly stops and moves Mika's hands from her face. Izuku, we can do it if you're okay with it. Mika, I want to, she says as she blushes harder. Izuku nods with a small smile as he kisses her neck. She softly as her hands are holding onto Izuku's shoulders. As Izuku kisses her neck, he uses one of his hands and slides his hand through her skirt. She blushes crazy and puts her head into his shoulder. After he pleases her, he takes his hand out and takes her skirt off. Mika, please be gentle. Izuku, I will, and they both have a wonderful night together. Izuku Midoriya, the truest hero of all time. Before I start this chapter 1, want to warn you guys that there is some lemon scenes in this. If you know what it means, you know, but just wanted to warn you. We start the chapter off as we see Izuku and Mika sleeping together. It's early in the morning, the birds are chirping and the sun is rising. The first one to wake up is Mika as she sits up and rubs her eyes. She can't see anything as everything is blurry. Mika, where's my glasses? She says as she feels around the bed. She then looks towards the desk and feels around it. Mika, here they are. She puts on her glasses and looks around the room. Next to her is Izuku as the sun shines on his body. Mika, oh my, she says as she observed his body. She then looks down and notices she is naked. Mika, 0. She covers herself in the blanket and blushes hard. Mika, did we? She asks herself and she looks down to the floor. She can see hers and his clothes scattered on the floor. Mika tries to move her legs but she can't. Mika, I think we actually did it. She says as she covers her face with her hands. Mika, I can't believe we did it. She says as she uncovers her face. She looks towards Izuku and he rolls over and faces Mika. As he is facing her, the blanket falls off of him and shows his mighty pole. Mika blushes as she sees it and turns away. Mika, it's so big. As she says that, she is pulled into a hug. Mika, Izuku. She whispers to him. Izuku is cuddling with Mika and she hugs Izuku back as she lays her head on his chest. Mika, he feels so warm, she says as she closes her eyes and embraces the hug. But suddenly she feels something grow between her legs. She looks down and sees Izuku's pole between her legs. Mika, Izuku, she says as she tries to get out of his grip. But she accidentally rubs his pole with her area. She makes a high-pitched squeal. Mika, Izuku, she says as she shakes Izuku. As she shakes him, she rubs her area against his pole again. Mika, ah. She then shoves her head into his chest. Mika is blushing hard and is trying to hold in her Mika, that felt so good. She thinks for a bit and decides to rub his pole again. She continues to rub her area against his pole and is breathing heavily. But as she is doing this, his pole accidentally goes into her area. Mika loudly but covers her mouth. Mika, it went in. She is deciding on if she should stop or not. She decides to keep going since she has already gone this far. She lays Izuku on his back and gets on top of him. She still has his pole inside her area. Mika, oh okay, this can't be too hard, right? She say as she prepares herself. She slowly starts to move on his pole and is enjoying it. Mika sits up and covers her mouth with one hand and starts to speed up. Mika, ah. As she continues, she doesn't notice that Izuku is starting to wake up. Izuku, what is going on? As he asks himself, he sees Mika riding his pole. Izuku, oh, he has a small blush on his face and decides to stay quiet. Mika doesn't notice that Izuku is watching. But then Izuku grunts and Mika notices. She stops and looks down to Izuku. Mika, Izuku, Mika, I can explain. She says as she tries to get off of Izuku. But she slips and Izuku's pole goes deeper in her. Mika and covers her mouth immediately, and Izuku grunts. Mika is holding herself up on Izuku's chest and Izuku is holding her by her waist. Izuku, are you okay? Mika nods as she is breathing heavily. Izuku, let me help you off, he says as he sits up and holds her by her butt. He then starts to lift her but she stops him. Mika, wait Izuku, what? Mika, can we keep going? She says as she has her head on his shoulder. Izuku, are you sure? I mean you seem like you can't handle it. Mika, I know I can't but, I want to. Izuku, well if you're really sure you want to, then I guess we can, he says as he sits up. She holds onto his shoulders and Izuku holds her by her waist. She is sitting on his lap and Izuku starts to move. Mika, ah. She out as Izuku is penetrating her. He then starts to kiss her neck. She holds his head with one hand as the other is covering her mouth with the other. As Izuku is kissing her neck, he goes lower as he does and ends up to her chest. She holds his head and she starts moving along with Izuku. Mika, Izuku. She calls out his name as she is about to reach her limit. Izuku is about to CLMX to so he goes faster. They both then CLMX and Mika squeezes Izuku's head against her chest. Once they are done, Mika falls back and Izuku catches her. Izuku, Mika, are you okay? Mika, 2M so tired, she says as Izuku lays her down on the bed. Izuku sighs in relief as he gets up off the bed. Izuku, I need to take a shower, he says as he looks to the ground and notices the clothes on the floor. Izuku picks the clothes up and folds them. Izuku, I'll wash these later. He goes to his closet and takes some clothes from his closet. He goes to his bathroom and takes a shower. As he is taking a shower, Mika tries to get up but she can't. So she covers herself in the blanket and waits for Izuku. Shortly after, he gets out for the shower and leaves the bathroom. Mika, Izuku, I don't have any clothes, she says as she puts her face into the blanket. Izuku, as he is thinking, he changes into a new fresh set of clothes. Once he is done, he goes back into his closet. Izuku, while I look for some clothes for you, go take a shower. Mika, oh okay. She then stands up but starts to wobble around. Izuku, are you okay? Mika, why yeah, I'm fine. She says as she balances herself out and goes into the bathroom. She then starts to take a shower. While she is taking a shower, Izuku is taking some clothes from his closet. Izuku, I'm glad I was able to please her, but I don't think I was done. Izuku then remembers how Mika's body looked when she was on top of him. Izuku slightly blushes but shakes it off. Izuku DMN it, he grabs the clothes he needed and puts them on the desk. He goes to his bed and starts to fix it. After a while Mika comes out of the shower in a towel. And as she comes out, the bed is fixed and there is a set of clothes on the bed, with a note on it. She goes to it and read it. Dear Mika, I left to go wash our clothes. I won't be back for a while, so I will appreciate it if you watched Eri while I was gone. Izuku P.S. Also I hope you enjoyed our time together. Mika blushes at the end of the note. Mika, I did. Izuku, she says as she puts the note to the side and changed into Izuku's clothes. Once she is done changing, she hugs her clothes and smiles. Mika, Izuku's clothes feel so warm, she says as she goes to Izuku's mirror. She is wearing an oversized blonde sweater, with oversized shorts. She fixes her glasses and leaves Izuku's room. Once she is in the living room, she sees Kyoka and Eri sitting in the living room with their own bowls of cereal, watching TV. Mika, good morning girls. She says with a calming smile. Eri, good morning. Kyoka, morning mom. She says as she finishes her cereal and gets up. Kyoka, so mom, can I talk to you real quick? Mika, why of course sweetie. She says as she follows Kyoka to the kitchen. Kyoka, so mom, how was it? She says as she puts her bowl in the sink. Mika, how was what? Kyoka, how was Izuku in bed? Mika, what are you taking about? She asks as she has a blush on her face. Kyoka, mom, you were really loud last night, including this morning. Andy kinda watched, she says as she has a blush on her face. Mika, what, when? Kyoka, last night, she says as she plays with her earphone jacks. Flashback, Kyoka is sleeping on the couch and starts moving around. She can hear someone and wakes up. Kyoka, what's that noise? She asks herself as she gets up off the couch. She follows the noise and sees a door open with a light shining through the crack of it. She slightly opens the door and sees Mika riding Izuku. Kyoka blushes as she can see her mom riding on top of Izuku. Kyoka, mom. Mika, oh, Izuku. She his name as Izuku grasps her butt. Mika holds Izuku's hand as he clenches onto her butt. As Kyoka is watching, she slides her hand through her breathes and starts to please herself. Kyoka, what am I doing? I'm pleasing myself as I'm watching. She stops and thinks for a moment. Kyoka, but then Aga and it is kinda hot. She then starts to imagine herself in Mika's place and that turns her on. She continues to please herself as she imagines herself in her mom's place, being penetrated by Izuku. As Mika is riding Izuku, Izuku sits up and kisses her chest. Mika holds Izuku's head against her chest as she starts to speed up. As Kyoka is watching, she slides her other hand under her shirt and starts to play with her chest. She starts to rub herself at the same place as her mom. Mika, Izuku. I'm gonna dash. Izuku, I am too. Mika lets go of Izuku and begins to go faster as Izuku holds on to her waist. Kyoka starts to go faster as she starts to breath heavier. And they all CLMX. Kyoka and Mika have reached their limit and are tired. Mika lays down on Izuku and Izuku wraps his arms around her. Mika, Izuku, that was amazing, she says as she begins to doze off to sleep. Izuku rubs her back and covers themselves in their blanket. Izuku, yeah, it was, he says as he closes his eyes and goes to sleep. With Kyoka, she has her head against the door frame and pulls her hand out of her breathes. Kyoka, that was so good. She struggles to get up as her legs are wobbling. She helps herself up with the door frame and closes the door. Kyoka, I should clean myself up. And she goes to the bathroom. After some time she leave the bathroom. Kyoka, OCRP, did Eri hear them? She quickly goes to Eri's door and opens it. She sees Eri is asleep in her bed, cuddling with a toy bunny. Kyoka, phew, thank God. She closes the door and walks back into the living room. Before laying back on the couch, she goes into the kitchen and gets a cup of water. As she drinks her cup of water, she starts to think about what her mom and her crush were doing. Kyoka, can't believe I just did that, watching my mom f Izuku. She finishes her cup and puts it in the sink. Kyoka, but then again, who could resist such a hot guy, she thinks to herself as she goes back to the couch. Kyoka, and who wouldn't want to ride his bigagady dash? Before she could finish that sentence, the TV goes sun, which make her jump. She checks around herself and finds out she was laying on the remote. She turns the TV off and lays back down on the couch. Kyoka, I should get some sleep, and she goes back to sleep. End of flashback. Kyoka, and that's what happened. Mika, phew, I'm glad Eri didn't hear anything. Kyoka, yeah, thank God. Mika, Soya, we're watching. Kyoka, why yeah, I'm sorry Mika, you don't have to apologize Kyoka, I was the one who woke you up Kyoka, but I was watching Andy kinda liked it Mika, I see they both are just standing there in awkward silence. Mika, so, you liked it. Kyoka, why yeah Mika, so, does that mean you want to do it with Izuku? Kyoka, and no. May, but I don't think he likes me that way Mika. Kyoka, you'll never know if he loves you if you never tell him. Kyoka, but what if, Mika, Kyoka, just tell him how you feel when he gets back, and I'm sure he'll feel the same. Kyoka, okay then. Mika, good. She says as she hugs Kyoka. Mika, now, let's see what Eri is doing. She says as she runs off to the living room. Kyoka, why yeah, I'm coming Kyoka, well, mom's right, I have to tell Izuku how I feel I just hope he feels the same. Meanwhile, we see Izuku waiting for his clothes to dry as he is on his phone. As he is on his phone, he notices a mother and a boy playing together. He starts to get flashbacks of when he was a kid, playing heroes with his mother. But his flashbacks are interrupted as someone goes up to him. Excuse me Izuku, I hope you don't mind me asking but, do you have any extra change? I don't have enough for the drying machine Izuku nods as he reaches into his wallet and takes out some change. Thank you so much. She says as Izuku gives her the change. Izuku, you're welcome Ryukyu, my name is Ryukyu Tatsuma, it's nice to meet you. She says as she reaches her hand out. Izuku he says as he shakes her hand. Ryukyu, do you have a last name? Izuku, I didn't like me last name Ryukyu, oh, I'm sorry for asking. Izuku, it's okay you didn't know Ryukyu, oh alright, well I'll be right back. She says as she runs off. Izuku goes back to his phone as he waits for her. Izuku, wait a minute, isn't she that hero I ran into a few days ago? He looks towards where she ran off and realizes she is right next to him as she is turning on the machine. Izuku, now that I'm not fighting her, she's as she stands up, she shakes her head and her hair flows around a bit. Izuku, appealing, he has a small blush on his face as he is admiring her beauty. As he is, Ryukyu turns around and Izuku turns back to his phone. Ryukyu, hee, I just noticed I'm right next to you. She says as she rubs the back of her head with a smile. Izuku, yeah, I just noticed that too he says as he puts his phone away. Ryukyu, so, while we're waiting for our clothes, why don't you tell me about yourself? Izuku, well, what do you want to know? Ryukyu, well, let's see she says as she sits on a random washing machine. Ryukyu, what do you do as a hobby? Izuku, mightn't know Ryukyu, W8, you don't do anything. Izuku, well, I do spend time with my daughter Ryukyu, well, that's a hobby. Izuku, oh, sorry Ryukyu, it's cool, but what do you do with her? Izuku, well, we watch SpongeBob a lot Ryukyu, wow, she must really like SpongeBob. Izuku, she's not the only one, he says as he faces away from her. Ryukyu, ah, you both love watching SpongeBob. Izuku, maybe Ryukyu, that's crazy cause, I love SpongeBob. Izuku, really? Ryukyu, yeah, it's my childhood cartoon. Izuku, that's nice to know. Ryukyu, I think it's kinda cute how a big strong guy loves watching SpongeBob with his little girl. As she says this, Izuku has a small blush on his face and Ryukyu realizes what she says and blushes. Ryukyu, sorry. She says as she scoots away from Izuku. Ryukyu, I made it look like I was hitting on you, I wouldn't want to ruin your relationship with your wife and kid. Izuku, wife. Ryukyu, wait, you're not married. Izuku, no, I'm not. Ryukyu, wait, then is she? Izuku, adopted, yes. Ryukyu, oh, so that means you're single. She says as she scoots closer. Izuku, if you put it that way then yes, I am single. Ryukyu, so, does that mean you're free tomorrow? She asks Izuku as she's leaning against Izuku. Izuku, it does, he says as he wraps his arm around her. Ryukyu, sounds like a date then, she says as she moves her face towards Izuku's. Izuku, that sounds nice, he says as he moves closer to her face. Ryukyu, then I can't wait. She kisses Izuku and holds his cheek with her hand. Izuku kisses her back as he holds her by the waist. She deepens the kiss as she slips her tongue in and holds his face with her hands. Izuku then moves in front of her and pulls her against himself. She wraps her legs around him and wraps her arms around his neck as well. But before they could go any further, one of the machines go off and they both stop making out. Ryukyu, I kinda forgot we're here. Izuku, sorry, he says as he lets her go. Ryukyu, it's okay, she says as she fixes herself. Izuku opens his machine and takes out his clothes from the dryer. He begins to fold them and places them in the basket he brought with him. Ryukyu, do you need help with that? Izuku, I would like that, thank you. She then begins to help Izuku with his clothes and they eventually finish putting Izuku's clothes away. Ryukyu, so I'll see you tomorrow then. Izuku, yeah, here's my number so you can tell me where we'll meet, he says as he takes a piece of paper and writes his number down on it. Ryukyu, oh, I'll be sure to call you tomorrow. Izuku, okay, I'll see you tomorrow then. He says as he picks his basket up and walks away. Ryukyu, why yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. And Izuku is gone. She is standing there with Izuku's number in her hands with a blush on her face. Ryukyu, oh my god, how did I play that so calmly? She asks herself as she holds her face in embarrassment. And as Izuku is walking back, he has a small blush on his face. Izuku, what just happened back there? He asks himself as he continues to walk. Izuku, well, I guess I got myself a date tomorrow, but what do I tell Mika? He asks himself as he stops walking. Izuku, the only thing I can do is tell her the truth. He continues to walk home. Izuku, I shouldn't keep this a secret, it will only make things worse, and he continues to walk back home, thinking of what to tell Mika. Time skip, it's dark outside and Izuku just arrived home. He is at his front door and begins to open it. Izuku, it's so late out, I should get a car soon. He enters his home and sees that the lights are out. Izuku goes through the living room and sees that Mika is watching TV with Eri sleeping on her lap. Mika then realizes that Izuku has arrived. Mika, hello Izu. She whispers to him. Izuku, why yeah, hello Mika, he says as he walks past her without even looking at her. He is still trying to figure out the words to explain this to Mika. Mika realizes something is wrong with Izuku and decides to talk to Izuku. Mika lifts Eri's head off her lap and lays her head on a pillow. Mika follows Izuku to his room and sees that he is putting some of his clothes away as he is laying her folded clothes on the bed. Mika, Izuku, is something wrong? She says as she enters his room and closes the door. Izuku sighs deeply as Mika goes up to him from behind and hugs him. Izuku, while I was washing the clothes today, I met someone named Ryuko. Mika, go on. She says as she sits Izuku down on the bed. Izuku, we talked for a while and after a while, she asked me out on a date Mika, and what did you say? Izuku, too agreed to it Mika, oh, well that's okay Izuku. She says with a smile. Izuku, I know it's wrong and wait what? Mika, Izuku, I know I'm not gonna be the only woman who falls for you, but you should really be careful about who you fall for. Izuku, I know that but, she seemed nice Mika, so that's why it's a good idea to take them on a date. She says as she hugs him. Izuku, so, you're okay with this? Mika, of course I am, but I want to meet them before you do anything. Izuku, are you sure you're okay with it? Mika, yes I am, and I'm proud that you decided to tell me. She says as she kisses him on the cheek. Izuku then hugs Mika and lays his head on her shoulder. She smiles. And sits on his lap, hugging him back. Mika, I love you Izuku, I am to he says as he lays back on the bed with Mika in his arms. She smiles as she tightens her hug around Izuku and cuddles her head on his chest. Izuku takes his hand and plays with Mika's hair as she closes her eyes and enjoys it. But then Mika remembers that Kyoka is gonna confess to Izuku so she gets up. Mika, I'll be in the living room when you're done okay? She says as she is sitting on his stomach. Izuku, and she gets up off him and leaves his room. As she is leaving she almost bumps into Kyoka who is standing there, blushing. Mika, are you gonna tell him now? Kyoka, why yeah Mika, good, also you heard what me and him were talking about, right? Kyoka, yeah, I heard and I'm okay with sharing him. Mika, alright, now go tell him. She says as she walks away. Kyoka takes a deep breath and goes to his room. As she enters she sees Izuku putting some clothes away. Kyoka, you Izuku, Kyoka, I wanted to tell you something she says as she closes the door behind her. Izuku, what is it? He asks as he turns around to face her. Kyoka, I wanted to tell you that I really she is struggling to tell Izuku as she has a huge blush on her face and she starts to play with her earphone jacks. Izuku notices and walks up to her. Izuku, is something wrong? He asks her as he rests his hand on her forehead. She blushes harder as she can feel Izuku's hand lay on her head. Izuku, you're not sick he is about to remove his hand until she grabs his hand with her two hands. Izuku, Kyoka. She then moves his hand on top of her head. She lets go and looks up to him with a flustered expression on her face. Izuku gets a slight blush as he thinks she looks cute. He starts to pet her head and she closes her eyes as she enjoys the head pats. She then slowly hugs Izuku and he hugs her back as he continues to pet her head. After a short amount of time she looks up to Izuku and he looks done to her. She pushes her feet up and kisses Izuku on the lips. Izuku kisses her back as they close their eyes and continue to kiss each other. She moves her hand to Izuku's cheek and she breaks to kiss. Kyoka, too like you Izuku, too do too and as he says that she pulls his face towards hers and continues to kiss him. Izuku slowly grabs her butt and lifts her up. She wraps her legs around him and wraps her arms around his neck. As they are making out, Kyoka accidentally rubs her area against Izuku's waist and she can feel his pipe. She stops kissing and goes up to Izuku's ear. Kyoka, see can we? She asks as she rubs her area against Izuku's waist. Izuku, only if you want to he says as he whispers back into her ear. Kyoka, why yes, I want to she says as gives Izuku's a quick kiss on the cheek. Izuku, okay, but let's be quick he says as he puts her against the wall. Kyoka, okay she says as she starts to unzip Izuku's briefs. As she does that, Izuku begins to take her shorts and underwear off. Kyoka takes Izuku's pole out and lines it up with her area. Izuku, are you ready? He asks her as he is holding her against the wall. Kyoka, yeah, I am she says as she is holding Izuku's shoulders. Izuku nods and slowly pushes his pole inside her. Once it's in she lets out a loud mmm but Izuku quickly kisses her, masking her mmm. Izuku has her lifted against himself and the wall and proceeds to move. As he moves she continues to with every move he makes. As she is being banged by Izuku, Mika can hear everything that is going on and goes to put Eri in her room. Mika, I didn't expect her to do it with Izuku this early. She says in her thoughts as she has a blush on her face. Eri has earmuffs on her ears since Mika wanted to make sure Eri couldn't hear anything. Mika, but I was prepared. She then proceeds to take Eri to her bed. With Izuku and Kyoka, Izuku is kissing her neck as she covered her mouth with her hand. She has her arm wrapped around Izuku's neck and Izuku stops kissing her neck. Izuku tightens the grip on her butt and proceeds to go faster. Kyoka, Izuku, I am gonna. Izuku hears her and proceeds to speed up. She starts to loudly and wraps her legs around Izuku. And eventually she reaches her limit as she can feel something warm enter inside her. She is breathing heavily as she is hugging Izuku. Izuku is still holding her by her butt and takes his pole out of her. Izuku pulls his pole out of her and she is still hugging him. Izuku, are you okay? Kyoka, I am okay, just tired she says as she snuggles her head against Izuku's head. Izuku zips his breathes back up and pulls Kyoka's short back up. Izuku, I'll get you some clean clothes in the morning he says as he lays her on his bed. Kyoka, Okizuku and she falls asleep. Izuku puts the blanket over her and gives her a quick kiss on the lips. He goes back to putting the clothes away and eventually finishes. He puts the basket in his closet and leaves his room, turning the light off. Izuku, good night Kyoka and he leaves the room. He goes into the living room and sees Mika sitting in the couch alone. He goes up to her and sees that she is in a blanket laying down. Mika, oh Izuku, come here I want to sleep. She whispers to Izuku as she reaches out to him, in the blanket. Izuku goes into her arms and lays down with her on him. He takes her glasses off and puts them on the coffee table. He then turns the TV off and Mika puts the blanket over them. Mika, good night Izuku, good night Mika and he gives her a kiss before falling asleep with her in his arms. The date Ryukyu, oh my god, Izuku your shoulder. She says as she looks at his shoulder. Izuku, it's nothing he says as he takes her hands. Ryukyu, but you're missing a chunk of its shoulder. He looks toward it and his shoulder is missing some meat. Izuku, I guess one of them got a piece of me he says as he holds it. Ryukyu, let me fix that for you back at my place. Izuku, but Ryukyu, but nothing Izuku. Let me help you okay. Izuku, Ryukyu, please. She says as she holds his cheek. Izuku, sigh fine Ryukyu, good, now come on. She says as she holds Izuku's hand and runs off with him. But before they leave he grabs the plush that was on the floor and continues to run with her. Izuku, you almost forgot this he says as he shows her the plush. Ryukyu, oh, thank you. She says as she takes it. And they continue to run. While he does people start to show up to the scene and see the bloodshed around. They are horrified by the sight but kinda relived as well. They saw what Izuku did and are kinda grateful for his help. Time skip on more time I promise Mabe. We see Izuku sitting on a bed while Ryukyu is patching Izuku's shoulder up. Ryukyu, it's a good thing I went to medical school. She says as she finishes. Ryukyu, there you go, all fixed up. Izuku, thank you Ryukyu, you're welcome Izuku, but what was that back there? Izuku, what was what? Ryukyu, Izuku, you killed them Izuku, they weren't people, they were demons Ryukyu, demons. Izuku, yes Ryukyu, you know, with us having quirks I kinda believe demons are real Izuku, yeah, and Rose were the weaker ones Ryukyu, I'm sorry what? Izuku, there are bigger and stronger ones than the imps Ryukyu, imps. Izuku, imps are what attacked us at the festival Ryukyu, oh, but did you have to be so brutal? Izuku, I show no mercy to my enemies Ryukyu, yeah I saw that and I guess I could let it slide. She says as she sits down next to him. Izuku, thank you Ryukyu, yeah, you're welcome Izuku, so, what now? he says as he looks towards her. Ryukyu, wanna watch a movie? Izuku, that could work, he says as he stands up. Ryukyu, alright, let's go. She says as she takes his hand. Izuku and Ryukyu go into the living room and she sits him on the couch. Ryukyu, you find a movie while I get us some popcorn. She says as she goes into the kitchen. Izuku, okay, he picks up the remote and starts to look for movies. Izuku, this looks good, he says as he starts the movie. He pauses it and waits for her. After a while she comes back and sees Izuku waiting for her. Ryukyu, you find a movie to watch? She asks as she sits down next to him. Izuku, yeah, I haven't seen this one, he says as he shows her the name. Ryukyu, oh, I haven't seen this one either. She says as she leans on him. Izuku then puts his shoulder over her and holds her against him. He then starts the movie and they watch it together. Time Skitai's chapter has a lot of DMN time skips. This is the last one now. The movie ends and Ryukyu is laying on Izuku as his arm is around her waist. Ryukyu, that was a good movie, what do you think, Izuku? She says as she looks up. She sees he's asleep and smiles. She moves his arms and gets up. She goes to her room and changes into comfortable clothes. She then takes a blanket from her bed and goes to the living room. She enters the living room and lays back on Izuku with the blanket on top of them. She then feels his arms wrap around her and looks up to him. She gives him a kiss on the cheek and snuggles her head against his chest. She smiles and falls asleep in Izuku's arms. Meanwhile, we see the pro-heroes at the festival and they are investigating the dead imps all over the place. Hawks, geez, whoever did this is really brutal. Midnight, oh god, it smells. She says as she covers her nose. As they are investigating, Aizawa comes back. Aizawa, sigh, apparently no one saw who did this. Hawks, well, this is a good start. Midnight, I'm sure we'll find them. Aizawa, this is gonna be a long night, he says as he walks off. Ryukyu's surprise. Izuku, there's no time, he says as a red portal opens in front of him. And in the portal comes out Doomguy. Doomguy, Vega says the heroes are close, we don't have much time. He says as Izuku gives Eri to him. Izuku, that's not good, Doomguy, and who are these girls? Izuku, right, this is Kyoka and Mika. Doomguy, it's a pleasure to meet you girls. Mika, well, it's nice to meet you too. She says with a smile. Kyoka, it's nice to meet you as well, but, what is going on? Izuku, the heroes are after me because I'm a vigilante. Kyoka, well, what did you do? Izuku, I saved Eri from someone. Doomguy, don't forget about these demons you killed. Izuku, right Mika, demons. Izuku, I'll explain later, but right now we gotta go. Kyoka, but why? Izuku, if the heroes find you with me, then they'll think you're helping me. Mika, he does have a point. Doomguy, we don't have a lot of time, we should get going, he says as he walks through the portal with Eri in his arms. Kyoka, come on Izuku. Izuku, I'll be right there, he says as he gees to his closet. Izuku, I just need to take care of something real quick. Mika, just be careful. Izuku. She says as her and Kyoka go through the portal with them. Izuku, yeah, I will, he says as the portal closes. He moves his clothes out of the way and sees the screen with a hand print on it. He puts his hand on it and it says, access granted. It opens and he sees his armor and his weapons sitting there. Izuku, it's time to see my favorite hero again, he says as he put this armor on. Meanwhile, after the heroes have looked everywhere in the search area, we see them standing in front of Izuku's house. Hawks, alright, how are we gonna do this? All Might, simple, we knock. He says as he goes to the front door. All Might, hello, is anyone here? He asks as he knocks on the door. All Might, if you can hear us, the best thing you can do right now is surrender. We will not hesitate to beat your A. The building blows up in All Might's face, interrupting him. The heroes are shocked as they take over. As the house is destroyed, we see Izuku walk out of the on-fire building like a badass he is. The heroes see him and get in their battle stance. Hawks, something tells me we're Izuku, you are, he says as he cocks his shotgun. A battle against the heroes. News reporter, we are currently watching our best heroes fight a villain or possibly a vigilante from the sky. She say as she is in a helicopter watching the heroes and Izuku about to fight, with the cameraman. Izuku dashes at the heroes as he dashes at Izuku. Endeavor throws a punch but Izuku dodges under it and uppercuts him in the jaw. Endeavor falls back and Izuku stomps on his chest. He goes to shoot him in the face until Mariko kicks Izuku in the back. Izuku falls forward, allowing Endeavor to get up. Endeavor, I didn't need your help. Mariko, that's not what it looked like. She says as she dashes at Izuku. Izuku gets up and sees Mariko jump at him. She goes to kiss Izuku in the face but he catches her leg. He throws her to the side and sees Hawks dash at him with a sword-like feather. Hawks slashes at Izuku but he blocks it as he uses the blade in his gauntlet to block it. Izuku pushes Hawks away and slashes Hawks in the face. Hawks, my face. He says as he holds his face with one hand. Izuku kicks him in the chest as he is distracted and aims his shotgun at his face. Izuku, I know a lot about you heroes, especially if I should kill you, he thinks to himself as he notices the other heroes going to help Hawks. Izuku, and you are true hero, he thinks to himself as he aimed the shotgun away from Hawks. Endeavor shoots flames at Izuku and Hawks. Izuku notices and picks Hawks up and jumps out of the way of the flames, barely dodging it. Mariko, Endeavor, what the hell are you doing? Midnight, you could have hit Hawks. Endeavor, I had an opening and I took it, it's not my fault if he was in the way. He says as he shoots more flames at Izuku. Izuku dodges the flames again with Hawks over his shoulder. Hawks is just over his shoulder wondering why Izuku is saving him. Hawks, why are you trying to save me? Izuku, I don't kill heroes only the fake ones, he says as he dodges another flame blast. Mariko and Midnight are trying to stop Endeavor but it's no use. Izuku eventually messes up and the flame blast is about to hit him. Izuku notices and throws Hawks off of his shoulder. He throws him out of the way of the flame and puts his arms in front of his face. He is engulfed in the flames but powers through and starts walking towards Endeavor. Endeavor notices Izuku is powering through and increases the heat. Izuku feels it's getting hotter and is getting tired, but he continues to power through. Midnight runs towards Hawks and helps him up. Hawks is standing there watching Izuku power through Endeavor's flames. He can see Izuku getting tired but also getting closer to Endeavor. Hawks wants to stop Izuku from getting closer but, for some reason he doesn't. Endeavor reaches his limit and stops shooting flames at Izuku. They are both exhausted but Izuku is able to dash at Endeavor. But as he does, Mariko jumps at Izuku and tackles him to the ground. Mariko, I got him. She says as she is pulling his arm behind his back. Izuku is too tired from the heat to push her off his back, but continues to struggle. Endeavor sees Mariko holding him down and is pretty sad. Endeavor, I didn't need help, especially from a woman. He thinks to himself as he slowly stands up. He sticks his hands out and they start to glow with flames. Hawks notices what Endeavor is doing and shouts. Hawks, Endeavor, stop. He says as he runs towards him. Mariko hears Hawks shout at Endeavor and looks towards him. She sees he's about to blast her with his flames and Izuku notices as well. Before Hawks could stop Endeavor, it was too late as he blasted Mariko and Izuku with his flames. Right before the flames reach Izuku and Mariko, he pushes Mariko off of his back while she was distracted. He gets in front of her to protect her and is hit by the flames. He blocks the flames and dashes at Endeavor as the flames hits him. Endeavor is too tired to do anything about it and Izuku's blade comes out of his gauntlet. And he stabs Endeavor in the throat. And the heroes stand there in shock as they see the number 2 hero stabbed in the throat. Izuku pulls the blade out and Endeavor falls to his knees as he holds his throat as an attempt to stop the bleeding. Izuku takes a few deep breaths as he watches. He goes behind Endeavor and grabs him by his hair. Izuku, I know what you have done to your family, and it disgusts me, he whispers to him as he puts his blade on Endeavor's neck. Izuku, watch as your hero dies in front of your eyes, he says as he faces Endeavor towards the helicopter. And he cuts Endeavor's head off. Endeavor's headless body falls to the floor and everyone watches in shock and horror. They just watched the number 2 hero get executed in front of their eyes. Izuku raises Endeavor's head, showing everyone how strong he is. He drops the head and it rolls to the ground, and stops on Endeavor's body. The heroes stare at Izuku with horror as they just watched the number 2 hero die in front of them. Izuku, this is what happens to those fakers, he says as he stares at the heroes. Izuku, they pretend to be heroes only to hide their crimes they commit when no one is looking. Izuku, I am a doom slayer, and I will show every faker their doom. As he says that, All Might comes at him from behind. All Might, Detroit, he shouts as he throws a punch at Izuku. All Might, smash. He shouts as he punches Izuku with everything he has. But Izuku turns around and his blade comes out of his gauntlet. And he puts the blade in the way of All Might's fist, forcing the blade to go into All Might's fist. The force of the punch pushes Izuku back and the blade breaks off of his gauntlet. Izuku rolls on the floor but recovers and stares at All Might. All Might is hunching over as he is holding his fist in pain. The blade is stuck between his knuckles and is inside of his hand. Izuku stands up slightly, leaning forward. Izuku, be grateful you're not on my kill list, he says as he puts his shotgun away. A red portal then opens behind Izuku and All Might watches Izuku as he is holding his fist in pain. Izuku, it took the number 1 hero a blade to the fist to put him out of commission, he says as he turns around. Izuku, pathetic, he says as he begins to leave through the portal. All Might, W8. He shouts towards Izuku. But he ignores All Might and goes through the portal. The portal closes, leaving the heroes defeated. All Might stares towards the headless Endeavor corpse and is upset. All Might, 2 failed, he says as he falls to his knees and stares to the ground in shame. Meanwhile, we see Izuku walk through the portal and ends up on a ship in space. As he takes his helmet off, he is greeted by his dad. Doom Guy, I saw what you did on the news, that was impressive son, he says as he puts his arm over his shoulder. Izuku, thanks dad, but I'm not as strong as you, he says as he gets his helmet off. Doom Guy, maybe, but you're still pretty good, especially with that blade in your gauntlet. Izuku, yeah, but it broke off, he says as he his gauntlet towards Doom Guy. Doom Guy, DMN, we can get that fixed though. Izuku, okay, let me just get this off, he says as he walks away to his room to change. After he changes he gives the armor to Doom Guy. Doom Guy, I'll get this fixed, you go see how Eri is doing. Izuku, alright, thanks dad, he says as they both walk away. Doom Guy, MHM, and they both leave to do their own things. After walking around to find Eri, he finds her staring out the window. Izuku, hey Eri. Eri hears Izuku and turns around. Eri, Papa's back, she says as he runs towards her. Izuku crouches down and holds his arms out to her. She jumps in his arms and he catches her. Eri, where were you, Papa? Izuku, I was just dealing with something, what were you doing? Eri, I was staring out the window. It looks appealing, she says as she points towards the window. Oops. This image does not follow our content guidelines. To continue publishing, please remove it or upload a different image. Izuku, it is appealing, isn't it? Eri, yeah, but what is it called? Izuku, it's called space. Eri. Eri, why is it called space? Izuku, that's because it looks very empty. Eri, is it? Izuku, no, there are probably billions of planets out there. Eri, whoa. Eri is fascinated by space as she stares out the window. Izuku, do you see those shiny dots in space? Eri, yeah, they look pretty. Izuku, they're called stars, and they are pretty, aren't they? Eri, yeah. She says as they both continue to stare out in space together. Izuku, I'm sure the girls could explain it better than I can. Speaking of the girls, where are they? Eri, I saw them go over there. She points behind Izuku. He turns around as sees she's pointing down a hallway. Izuku, I guess they went to the guest room, he says as he puts Eri down. Izuku, why don't you go and explore the place a bit? I'll be right back, he says as he walks away. Eri, okay papa. She says as she runs off. Izuku walks down the hallway towards the guest room and sees the door open. He goes in and sees the girls sitting on the bed, watching TV together. Both of the girls notice Izuku in the room and get off the couch quickly. Mika, oh, you're okay. She says as she hugs him. Kyoka, we were so worried about you, are you hurt? Izuku, no, I'm fine, he says as he hugs them back. Mika, we saw what happened on the news and we got worried. She says as the three break the hug. Kyoka, and what you did to Endeavor, Izuku, oh, he says as he rubs the back of his head. Izuku, I'm sorry Mika, what were you thinking? Kyoka, and what did you mean when you called him a faker? Izuku, I guess I should really explain, he says as he sits on the bed. Izuku, the reason I called him a faker should sound pretty obvious. Kyoka, you mean was a fake hero? Izuku, yes Mika, wait, how did you find out? Izuku, that is something I need to show you, he says as he gets up off the bed. Izuku, follow me, he says as he leaves the room. THR girls follow him as he walks towards a room in the hallway. He opens the door and walks in with the girls. Kyoka, it's so dark in here, I can't see a thing. Izuku, hold on a sec, he says as he goes to turn on the lights. He turns the lights on, revealing a room full of photos and files of heroes and other random people. The room's kinda messy as the floor has a bunch of papers scattered all over the floor. Mika, what is this place? Izuku, this is where I do my research on the heroes or other random people, he says as he picks the paper off of the floor. Izuku, this is how I find those fakers, he says as he puts the stack of papers on the desk. Izuku, and Endeavor was a faker, he says as he goes to a file cabinet. He opens it and takes a file out of it. Izuku, here, this will explain you question, he says as he gives it to Mika. Izuku, now if you'll excuse me I'm gonna go get cleaned up, he says as he walks out of the room. Izuku, be sure to close the door when you leave, he says as he leaves. As Izuku leaves, Mika opens the file showing a photo of Endeavor. They both read together and find out what Endeavor did to be killed by Izuku. And they discover that Endeavor abused his family. He trained his youngest son Shoto Todoroki like a soldier. He abused his wife Rei Todoroki and she eventually had a mental breakdown, causing her to pour hot water on Shoto's face, leaving a scar on his left side of his face. Endeavor then sent his wife to a mental hospital and has been there for the past 10 years. And since then, Endeavor has continued to train Shoto to become the strongest hero to surpass All Might. After the girls have finished reading the file, they are shocked that Endeavor did something like this. Kyoka, that is really messed up Mika, no child should go through this much pain, she says as she puts the file on the desk. Kyoka, I wonder how Izuku found out about this. Mika, we could ask him later, for now let's just wait for him to finish. Kyoka, alright. She says as they both leave the room, closing the door as they leave. Time skip, we see Izuku sitting on the bed watching TV with Eri, Mika and Kyoka. As they are watching TV, Izuku gets a text on his phone. He checks who it's from and it's from Ryukyu. He checks the message and it says, Ryukyu, we need to talk. Izuku, that doesn't sound good. He gets off of the bed, which catches Mika's and Kyoka's attention. Kyoka, is something wrong? Izuku, no, it's Ryukyu, she says she wants to talk, he says as he begins to leave the room. Mika, okay, don't take too long Izuku. Izuku, I won't, he says as he leaves. He closes the door and goes to his investigation room. Once he enters, he closes the door and calls Ryukyu. After a while she answers. Ryukyu, Izuku, do you have any idea what you done? Izuku, yes, I am fully aware of what I did. Ryukyu, you just killed the number 2 hero. Izuku, I'm not too worried about it. Ryukyu, Izuku, they know what you look like. Izuku, oh Ryukyu, sigh, look, I'm a hero, I can't let you kill people like this. Izuku, but I have to. Ryukyu, no you don't. Izuku, you could bring them to justice the right way, just stop killing them. Izuku, I'm doing it my way. Ryukyu, and that's to kill those fakers. Ryukyu, Izuku, Ryukyu. Ryukyu, fine, you can do it your way, but I can't be with someone who kills people. Izuku, what are you saying? Ryukyu, I'm saying we're done. Izuku, what? Ryukyu, Izuku, I really do like you, but it doesn't feel right to be with someone who kills. I am sorry, she says as she sounds like she's crying. Izuku, why? Before Izuku could explain his reason for killing Endeavor, she hangs up. Izuku just stands there as his arm drops with the phone still in his hand. Izuku, did she really? He thinks to himself as he tries to call Ryukyu again. He hears the ringing, but after a while his call is denied. Izuku, she really did. The phone slips out of his hand and he just stands there. As he is standing there, he feels tears go down his cheeks. He wipes his eyes with his arm and picks his phone up. Izuku, I really F up, didn't I? He says as he leaves the investigation room. He goes back to the girls and sees that Eri is asleep. Kyoka, so what did she want to talk to you about? She asks as her and Mika realize Izuku looks upset. Mika, Izuku, are you okay? Kyoka, you look like you've been crying. Izuku, I'm fine, I'm just tired. Mika, oh, well then I guess we should get some rest then. Kyoka, that sounds nice right about now. Izuku, yes, he says as he gets on the bed with the girls. He picks Eri up and lays her on his chest as they girls cuddle with Izuku. Kyoka, by the way, what did you two talk about? Izuku, it's nothing important, she was just checking on me. Kyoka, alright then. She says as she kisses Izuku on the cheek. Kyoka, good night. Izuku. She says as Mika kisses him on the other cheek. Mika, good night as well. Izuku. Izuku, yeah, good night, he says as he holds the girls in his arms. And they fall asleep together. Meanwhile, we see Ryukyu laying in her bed. She is still awake and looks like she's been crying. She really did love Izuku, but as a hero, it was her duty to protect people. She thinks she did the right thing but feels like she made a mistake. Ryukyu, I'm so sorry. Izuku, I hope you understand, she says as she still has a few tears in her eyes. She feels tired and closes her eyes. After some time she eventually falls asleep. Meanwhile, we see Hawks as he is staring at Endeavor's dead body. It's covered up with a big white cloth. The heroes and other people already left since it was getting late, but for some reason Endeavor's family never came. Hawks, I don't understand, sure Endeavor was kind of an butthole, but he didn't deserve to die for a trite. He asks himself. Hawks, what did Endeavor do to get killed? He asks himself as he rubs his eyes. Hawks, I guess there's only one way to find out. He says as he begins to leave the room. Hawks, I gotta find that Midoriya guy, if he killed Endeavor then he must have the answers for why, right? He says as he opens the door. Hawks, then again, he could probably kill me. Hawks, let's hope it's worth it, he says as he leaves. Izuku's ray of sunshine, she says as you can see the excitement in her eyes. Izuku, okay, he says as she shows her drawing of him and her. It's a sketch of Izuku and Eri holding each other's hand with smiles on their faces. Izuku, wow, this looks amazing. Eri, he says with a small smile. Eri, thank you Papa, now show me yours. Izuku, okay, he says as he shows her his drawing. Eri, oh wow. Izuku, do you like it? Eri, yeah, you're so good at drawing Papa. Izuku, really? Eri, yeah. Izuku, thanks Eri, he says as he hugs her. Eri, you're welcome Papa. She say as she hugs Izuku back. Izuku, Vega was right, this is nice, he thinks to himself as he has a small smile on his face with his eyes closed. He just sits they hugging Eri as they both enjoy each other's embrace. Izuku, Eri, I want you to know something. Eri, yes papa. Izuku, no matter where I go or whatever happened to me, I want you to know I will always be there for you, no matter what. Eri, really. Izuku, of course, he says as he tightens the hug. Eri, I love you papa. Izuku, I love you too. Snowflake, he says as Izuku lays back with Eri in his arms. They both enjoy each other's embrace and have smiles on their face. After a while Eri falls asleep with the picture still in her hands. Izuku can hear her snoring and lays her on the bed. He takes the markers and sheets of papers and puts them away. He slightly picks Eri up and lays her head on the pillow. He takes Eri's picture out of her hand and places it on the desk. He then covers Eri up with the blanket and fixes her hair. Izuku, how did I get so lucky to find you? He says as he kisses her on the head. As he does, she slightly smiles in her sleep and runs her head against the pillow. He then goes to the door and turns off the light. Izuku, sweet dreams. Eri, he says before leaving the room and closing the door. As he closes the door, he stands there smiling to himself. He's happy that he has someone as sweet as Eri to be his daughter. Vega, Izuku, I have located the man you were looking for. Izuku jumps as HW hears Vega. Izuku, Jesus, you scared me. Vega, sorry. Izuku, it's okay, now you said you found them. Vega, indeed, he is located here. Vega says as a virtual screen pops up in front of Izuku. It shows the map with a small circle that surrounds a building. Izuku, I see, thanks for the help. Vega. Vega, pleasure to be of assistance. And Izuku goes to get his armor. Izuku, let's see how much he can take before she breaks, he says as he walks through the hallways to get his suit. A battle and an opportunity. We see two big guys in front of a building playing Uno together. Thug #2, plus, he says as he slams a +4 card on the stack of cards. Thug #1, this game is bullshit. He says as he throws his cards on the table in anger. Thug #2, no, you're just trash at this game. He says with a smirk. Thug #1, screw you. He says as he gets up. Thug number 2, chuckles. As they are talking, they hear something move in the alleyway next to them. Thug #2, did you hear that? Thug #1, yeah, go check it out. Thug #2, what? Why me? Thug #1, because you're in but on Uno. Thug #2, that's a dumb reason. Thug #1, just do it. Thug #2, fine. He says as he gets out of his seat. He walks into the alley and looks around. Thug #2, hello. Is anyone here? He asks in the alleyway. Yeah, he says as he jumps out and grabs him by the face. Izuku, me. Izuku says as he slams the thug's head into the wall, knocking him out. Thug #1 OSHT. He says as he backs away from Izuku. Izuku notices the other thing and walks towards him. Thug #1 W8. He says as he holds his hands in front of him. Izuku stops and stares him down. Thug #1 L, let's make a deal. He says as he puts his hands down. Thug #2 L, let's play a game of Uno, if you win, you can kick my butt. If I win, you let me and my friend go, deal. Izuku, fine, he says as he puts his shotgun down. Thug #1, I didn't actually think he would agree. They both sit down and begin an exciting game of Uno. After some time, Izuku wins and the thug is scared. Thug number 1, phew, before he could finish, Izuku grabs the thug by the neck and chokeslams him through the table. Thug #1, Miss Banu, and the thug passes out. Izuku, UFSCK at Uno, he says as he steps over the thug. He opens the front door and sees it's dark inside. He goes inside and looks around. Izuku, maybe he's upstairs, he says as he goes upstairs. Once he's upstairs, he sees a room with its light on. He walks up to it and kicks the door open. He sees a group of thugs playing poker together. The thugs notice him and they all just stare at Izuku. Thugs, Izuku, thugs, get him. They shout as they all jump at Izuku. Izuku dashes at them and punches one of them in the face. One of the thugs then jump on Izuku from behind and another one smacks Izuku with a chair, breaking it. Izuku grabs the thug from his back and slams him into one of the thugs. Another thug kicks Izuku but Izuku catches his leg. Izuku picks him up and body slams him into the table. There's only one thug left standing and they both just stare at each other. Thug, I am just gonna go, he says as he tries to leave. Izuku runs at him and tackles him through the wall. As the thug is being held down, he tries to break free by punching Izuku but Izuku catches his fist and breaks it. Thug aghf okay you win. He says as Izuku lets him go. The thug holds his broken hand in pain as he rolls on the floor. Izuku, where is hashtag. Thug he's upstairs, just, don't kill me. He says as he tries to crawl away. Izuku, thanks he says as he walks up to the thug and curb stomps his head off the floor, knocking him out. Izuku walks to the stairs and sees a door with a light, shining through the cracks of the door. Izuku walks over to the door and kicks it open. He sees his target holding a shotgun. Random F, get back. I will shoot you, I swear. He says as he aims his shotgun at Izuku. Izuku ignores his warnings as he walks towards his target. He shoots at Izuku but the bullets don't affect him. Izuku gets closer to his target as he continues shooting at Izuku. Once Izuku is close enough, he grabs the shotgun out of his hand and smacks the SHT out of him with it. The guy falls to the floor and Izuku tosses the shotgun to the side. Izuku, you're gonna answer every question I ask, and if you're wrong I'll break one of your fingers, he says as he grabs his target and drags him out of the room. He tries to break free but Izuku smacks his head. Izuku, stop it, he says as he drags him to the roof. They reach the rooftop and Izuku lifts him over the edge of the roof. Random F, WOH, whoa wait don't drop me. He pleads as he holds onto Izuku's arm. Izuku, then tell me what I want to know. Random F, okay, I will. Izuku, good, now I know you've been hanging out with a group of drag dealers so I want you to tell me where they are. Random F, B but, before the guy could come up with an excuse, Izuku lets go of the guy and as he falls Izuku catches him by the leg. Random F, okay, they're at the docks. Izuku, which one? Random F, S southeast from here, please don't drop me. Izuku got his information so as usual he's about to kill him but remembers what Ryukyu said to him when she broke up with him. Ryukyu, Izuku, I really do like you, B but I can't be with someone who kills people. I am sorry. As Izuku is thinking, the guy is confused on what Izuku is doing. Random F, S so can you let me go? He says as he is still scared. Izuku, sighs Izuku, I better not regret this, he says as he throws the guy back onto the roof. Izuku, listen here, he says as he walks over to him. Izuku, if I catch you doing this SHT ever again I will find you, and I will kill you, he says as he crouches down to his level. Izuku, understand? Random F, why yes. He says as he goes to crawl away. Izuku, and just to be sure you keep your promise, he says as he grabs his leg. Random F, W8II, before he could say anything, Izuku breaks his leg and the guy screams in pain as he holds his broken leg. Izuku, I'll break more than you leg if you break, you promise, got it? Random F, why yes, I swear I won't. He says as he is crying on the floor. Izuku, good, and Izuku kicks him in the face, knocking him out. Izuku sighs and is about to leave before someone lands behind him. Stop right there, Doom Slayer, he says as he stares down Izuku from behind. Izuku turns around and sees Aizawa staring at him. Aizawa, you're under arrest for the murder of Endeavor, he says as he uses his quirk and throws his scarf at Izuku. Izuku puts his arm in the way and cuts the scarf in half. This shocks Aizawa, but he still continues to attack Izuku. Aizawa dashes at Izuku and kicks Izuku in the head. Izuku blocks the kick with his arm and goes to punch Aizawa in the face. Aizawa ducks under it and kicks Izuku in the stomach. Izuku catches his leg and throws Aizawa away. Aizawa rolls on the floor and recovers as pushes himself off the floor and lands on his feet. Aizawa, for a big guy, you're fast. Izuku, you're pretty strong too, especially with that quirk of your. Shota. Aizawa, what, how do you know my name? Izuku, I know a lot about you. Aizawa, it seems that way, he says as he loosens his scarf. Izuku, there is something you should know as well. He puts his gun away. Izuku, your quirk is useless against me. Aizawa, and why's that? Izuku, I'm quirkless, he says as he dashes at Aizawa. Before Aizawa could react, Izuku grabs him and slams him into the floor. Aizawa slips out of Izuku's grasp and pushes Izuku away with his legs. Izuku gets up and goes to stomp on Aizawa's chest, but he rolls out of it. Aizawa gets behind Izuku and kicks the back of Izuku's leg, causing him to fall to his knee. Aizawa kicks Izuku in the head and is getting the upper hand. Izuku, damn it, he's too fast for me. Aizawa then kicks Izuku in the face, causing him to almost fall on his back. Izuku catches himself, and as Aizawa is about to kick him again, Izuku grabs his leg and shoulder tackles him. Aizawa falls to the floor and lands on his back. Aizawa, DMN it, I'm fast but I'm not doing any damage. As Aizawa is on the floor, he looks at Izuku and gets an idea. Aizawa, I gotta get that helmet off, he says as he gets back up. Izuku, he's fast but weak, I'll let him strike first and then counter his attacks, he says as he gets in a stance. Aizawa dashes at Izuku and goes to kick him in the face. But Izuku counters his attack and grabs him by the neck. Izuku, I can't deal with you right now, I have somewhere to be right now, he says as he walks over to the edge. As Aizawa is trying to break free, Izuku is holding him over the edge. Izuku, I'm sure you'll survive the fall, you're a hero after all, he says as he throws him off the edge. Aizawa falls off the building and Izuku looks over the edge. Izuku, I'm sure he'll be fine, he says as he leaves the scene. As he left, we see Aizawa holding onto his scarf as it's tied around a pole. Aizawa, DMN it, I need to call Hawks, he says as he pulls out his phone. Time skip, we see Izuku arrive at the docks. He is on top of a building and is watching a group of thugs. They seem to be making a deal with another group, which is perfect for Izuku. Izuku, two birds with one stone, he thinks to himself as he gets ready to interrupt their little meeting. Thug #1, alright, so we got a deal. Thug #6, yeah, it's a deal, he says as he goes to shake his hand. But before they could finish their deal, Izuku interrupts it as he lands on one of the thugs. Thug #3, F you're heavy, he says before Izuku stomps on his head, knocking him out. Thug #1, kill this mother effer, he says as he forms a gun in his hand. One of them runs at Izuku as their arms turn into blades. The thug slashes at Izuku but he dodges the blades. Thug #5, hold still, damn it, he says as he slashes down at Izuku. Izuku catches the blades and breaks it off with the blade in his gauntlet. The thug screams in pain as he holds his missing arm. Izuku kicks the guy's leg and it bends backwards, snapping in half. He falls to the floor and two other thugs go at Izuku. One of them has their skin turned to metal and goes to throw a punch at Izuku. Izuku catches the fist and slams him onto the bladed thug. The other one runs at Izuku and jumps on his back. He grabs his head and tries to burn Izuku's head. But Izuku grabs the thug's arm and breaks it over his shoulder. The thug falls off of his back and holds his broken arm. Another charges at Izuku, but Izuku turns around and throws the blade he broke off of the thug into the thug's knee. The thug falls over and lands on his knee, pushing the blade further in. The thug made of metal gets back up and goes to punch Izuku in the back of the but Izuku avoids it by ducking under the punch and chokeslams the thug onto the thug with a broken arm. Another thug pulls a gun out and shoots at Izuku, but his aim is as bad as a stormtrooper. Izuku walks up to the thug and takes the gun out of his hand and smacks the SHT out of him with it. The other two thugs rush at Izuku and the thug made of metal gets back up. Izuku charges at the two thugs as one of them shoots at Izuku. As Izuku is running at them, the bullets bounce off of his armor and he clotheslines the shooter. The other thug pulls a pipe out of nowhere and hits Izuku's head. He is barely affected by it and Izuku looks towards the thug with the pipe. The thug swings at Izuku again but he catches the pipe. He takes the pipe out of the thug's hand and swings at his leg. The thug falls to the floor and holds his knee in pain. As the thug is on the floor, the one made of metal runs at Izuku and throws a punch at Izuku. Izuku dodges to the side and hits the thug in the face with the pipe, causing the thug to fall back. The shooter gets back up and tries to run away but Izuku notices him. He throws the pipe at the thug, hitting him in the back and knocking him out. Izuku notices the thug that made the pipe getting up. The thug faces Izuku as they are the last thug up. Thug #6, Yuf BSTRD. He shouts as he charges at Izuku with a bat. The thug swings at Izuku but his attacks do nothing to Izuku. The thug then throws one mighty swing at Izuku and it breaks in half. Thug #6F. He says as he sees Izuku walking towards him. With one last attempt to hurt Izuku, he throws the broken bat at Izuku's face and it bounces off. Izuku runs up to the thug and stomps on his leg, breaking it. The thug falls to the floor holding his broken leg and looks up to Izuku. Thug #6, W what are you? Izuku doesn't say anything as he stomps on the thug's head, knocking him out. The fight is over and Izuku takes a deep breath to replace but as he thought the fight was over. Thug #7, RAGH. The thug made of metal, tackles Izuku into the floor and start to throw a flurry of punches at Izuku. Izuku blocks most of his attacks but one as the thug hits Izuku in the face, slightly cracking the eyeglass. Izuku is done with his SHT as he catches the thug's fist. He punches the thug in the face, pushing the thug off of him a bit. As he has some room, Izuku kicks the thug in the chest, pushing the thug onto the floor. Izuku gets up and is frustrated as hell. He grabs the thug by their shirt and lifts him up onto his feet. Once he's got him standing up he starts to beat the CRP out of him. Oops. This image does not follow our content guidelines. To continue publishing, please remove it or upload a different image. Once Izuku is down, he throws the thug away and looks around, making sure the fight is actually over. Izuku, piece of SHT, he thinks to himself as he walks over to the drags. He sees the drags sitting in the trunk of a car. Izuku pulls a small device out and pushes a button on it. He throws it in the trunk and closes it. As he walks away it blows up, burning the drags along with the car. Izuku, now that that's done, I can go sleep now, he thinks to himself as he begins to leave the scene. But before he can leave, a feather flies by and sticks into the ground. Hawks, are we late for the party? He says as he flies down holding Aizawa. Both of the heroes notice, the beat-up thugs and the car that's on fire. Hawks, DMN, you beat the CRP out of these guys. He says as he checks on the thugs. Izuku, what do you want? He says as looks towards the hero. Izuku, if you want to fight again, I won't hesitate to kill you, he says as he is about to pull his shotgun out. Hawks, whoa, wait. We don't want to fight. He says as he puts his hands in the air. Hawks, we just want to talk. As he says this, Izuku has his guard up still but is willing to listen. Izuku, what do you want then, Aizawa? We want to give you a choice, he says as he walks up to Izuku. Aizawa, we noticed that everyone you've taken down, were not innocent. Hawks, yeah, especially Endeavor for what he did to his family. Izuku, you know what Endeavor did? He asks Hawks. Hawks, yeah, at first I wanted to find you and figure out why you killed Endeavor but I found out when I asked the Todorokis. Izuku, I see, he says as he lowers his guard. Aizawa, we know you have good intentions for what you're doing, but this isn't the right way, Hawks, so we want to give you a chance to be a hero along with us. Izuku, a hero. Aizawa, yes, with the approval of Nizu we could put you in rehabilitation and you can join UA as a hero, Hawks, so what's it gonna be? He asks Izuku. Izuku, I gave up trying to be a hero a long time ago, but I'll have to think about it, Hawks. That's fine, we can wait. Aizawa, let us know when you've made up your mind, he says as he gives Izuku a piece of paper with his number on it. Aizawa, call me once you've made up your mind, Izuku. I will, he says as he runs off. Hawks, question, isn't he a little too old to be a student? Aizawa, if you were listening to his profile, you would have known he's 16. Hawks, wait, you're saying we got our butts kicked by a 16-year-old? Aizawa, yes, Hawks, DMN Aizawa, and he's Quirkless, Hawks. Now I just feel embarrassed, Aizawa. Whatever, let's tie these criminals up, he says as he walks over to them. Hawks, alright, he says as he runs over to Aizawa. Hawks, I think he's gonna be fun to be around. Aizawa, we'll see. Time skip, we see Izuku sitting on the couch with Eri watching TV. He is trying to stay up but is very tired. Eri notices this and is worried. Eri, what's wrong, Papa? Izuku, I'm fine. Eri just yawned tired, he says as he rubs his eyes. Izuku, what about you, are you tired? Eri, a little bit, she says as she rubs her eyes. Izuku, alright then, I guess we should get some sleep then, he says as he turns off the TV. He gets off the couch and picks Eri up in his arms. Izuku, does that sound nice? Eri, she says as she lays her head on Izuku's chest. He slightly smiles as he pets her head. He goes to his room and once he does, he closes the door behind him and turns off the lights. He gets in bed with Eri and covers themselves in the blanket. Izuku, good night snowflake. Eri, good night Papa, and Izuku falls asleep with Eri sleeping on his chest. A loving mother. We see Izuku walking down the street with a mask covering his face. He's also wearing a black hoodie to cover his hair. Now that the heroes know who he looks like, even if Aizawa and Hawks gave him an offer to be a student at UA, he still doesn't know if he should take it or not. Right now he is in a store trying to find the candy apple. Izuku, where is the candy apple? Do they even sell them here? As he is struggling to find the candy apple, a woman with long white hair notices that Izuku is struggling to find something. Excuse me, but Izuku, do you need help? Izuku, Yado, you know where I could find the candy apples? Oh, they don't sell them here, only the ingredients. Izuku, he says as he lets out a sigh. Izuku, thank you for your help, Ms. Rei, my name is Rei Todoroki. She says as she takes her hand out. Rei, it's a pleasure to meet you. She says as she has a soft smile on her face. Izuku, cute, he thinks to herself as he has a small blush under his mask. Izuku, it's nice to meet you too, he says as he shakes her hand. Rei, his hands are massive. She thinks to herself as his hand covers her whole hand. As they are talking, they hear someone shouting which catches their attention. Izuku, what's that? Rei, I don't know, but they sound angry. She says as she walks towards the noise. Izuku, wait. He says as he follows her. It doesn't take them long to reach the front of the store since it's pretty small. They see someone aiming a gun at the cashier. Thief, I said give me your money. He said as he shot into the sky. The sound scares everyone except for Izuku since he ain't afraid of no thug. Izuku, if I don't stop him, someone could get hurt, he thinks to himself as he walks towards him. Rei, what are you doing? She whispers to Izuku as she grabs his hand. Izuku, I gotta stop him, Rei, but you'll get hurt. Izuku, I'll be fine, he says as he takes her hand. Izuku, I've dealt with worse, he says as he lets her hand go and walks away, leaving Rei worried but also with a small blush on her face. Rei, what was that? She thinks to herself as she watches Izuku. Izuku is slowly walking towards the thief. The thief is distracted on the cashier to notice Izuku sneaking up on him. But he is discovered as someone bumps into a rack of cans making noise, causing the thief to turn around and see Izuku. Izuku, CRP, thief, stop right there. He says as he aims his gun at Izuku. Izuku, okay, just calm down, he says as he puts his hands up. Thief, you thought you could sneak up on me. Izuku, well, it was working, thief, shut up. He says as she shoots next to Izuku's foot. But Izuku doesn't flinch since he's built different. Thief, what's with the mask and hoodie? Izuku, you don't need to know, thief, well, if you don't want to get shot, I suggest you take it off. Izuku, no, thief, I'll shoot you, do it. Izuku, no, the thief is getting frustrated but gets an idea. Thief, do it or else I'll shoot someone here, staring with her. He says as he aims at Rei. Izuku, fine. He says as she steps in front of the gun. As the gun is aimed at Izuku, he starts to take off his hood showing his green messy hair. Rei, wait, I recognize that hair from somewhere, but where? And Izuku places his hands on his mask and takes it off, revealing his face. Everyone recognizes who he is and the thief does as well. Thief, wait a minute, you're that guy who killed Endeavor. Izuku, and I won't hesitate to do the same with you, he says as he starts walking towards the thief. Thief, stay back. He says as he starts backing away from Izuku. He bumps into the cashier counter and his hand starts to shake as he is scared. The thief is about to shoot Izuku until the cashier behind the thief puts them in a headlock, giving Izuku the chance to take the pistol out of the thief's hand. The cashier pushes the thief forward and Izuku pistol WHPs him, causing him to fall back. Izuku breaks the gun and looks down to the thief to see he's knocked out. Izuku, thanks, he says to the cashier. Cashier, no problem. He says as he gives Izuku a thumbs up with a nervous smile. Izuku, has anyone called the police? Random citizen, they're already on their way. Izuku, good, does anyone have anything to tie him up? Random citizen #3, I do. He says as he walks up to Izuku and gives him the rope. Izuku, why do you have rope with you? Random citizen #3, I was gonna go mountain today, plus it was over there, he says as he points to the rack with ropes hanging off of it. Izuku, what kind of store is this? He says as he looks up to the cashier. The cashier just shrugs their shoulder as they don't know either. Izuku, whatever, he says as he ties up the thief. Izuku, alright, I'll take my leave now, he says as he puts his hood over his head and begins to leave. Rei, wait. She says to Izuku, but he already left the store. Rei, I gotta get to him quick. She says as she is about to leave the store. Cashier, wait, you have to, before he could say anything, she is already gone. Cashier, and she's gone whatever. He says as he waits for the cops to arrive. Meanwhile, we see Izuku walking down the street on the sidewalk thinking to himself. Izuku, Rei Mendevor's wife, I'm glad I saved her family from a terrible man. He thinks to himself and a small smile grows on his face. As he is walking, he hears someone running towards him and turns around to see Rei running towards him. Rei, wait. She shouts as she is running towards Izuku. Izuku, how has she not tripped in those high heels yet? He thought to himself as he sees her inches away from her. And just on cue. Rei, whoa. She trips. Izuku, I spoke too soon. He thinks to himself as he catches her. She falls into his arms and has her eyes closed as she expects to hit the floor. She notices she hasn't hit the floor, so she opens her eyes and sees Izuku looking down to her. Izuku, are you okay? He asks her as she is staring up to him. Rei, she is distracted as she could feel his muscles through his jacket. She snaps out of it as she stands up and lets go of Izuku. Rei, why yes, I'm okay, thank you for saving me, she says as she has a blush on her face. Izuku, you're welcome, he says as he's about to walk away again. Rei, wait. She says as she grabs his hand. Izuku, Rei, why you're the Doom Slayer, correct? Izuku, yes, he says as he thinks she's mad at him for killing her husband. Izuku, if this is about your husband, before he could finish, she hugs him. Rei, thank you so much, she says as she snuggles her head against his chest. Izuku is shocked that she is thanking him, he didn't expect her to be so grateful. He hugged her back as he rested his hand on her head and ran his fingers through her head. Izuku, you're welcome, he said as he was petting her. Rei blushed as she could feel his big soft hand run through her hair. She never felt something so comforting before. She closed her eyes and smiled softly as she enjoyed this moment. Izuku realized he was hugging her for too long and let her go. Izuku, sorry, he says as he lets her go. Rei, oh, it's okay, she says as she was blushing. Izuku, I'll be on my way now, he says as he starts to leave. Izuku, CRP, I forgot the candy apples, what am I gonna tell Eri? He sighed as he could imagine the worst possible outcome, her crying. Izuku, I failed as a father, he thought to himself as he stared at the floor. Rei noticed he was upset about something, so being the sweet person she is, Rei, are you okay? She asked him as he stopped and looked behind him. Izuku, Rei, why, you just seemed upset about something, so I just wanted to see if there was something wrong. Izuku, yeah, I was trying to get some candy apples for my daughter Eri. Rei, oh that's sweet, what's her name? She asked as she had a genuine smile. Izuku, her name's Erish, wanted to try a candy apple and I can't cook. Rei, oh, well I can help you make some candy apples. She offered to help him. Izuku, really? Rei, yes, I have children of my own and I would love to help you. Izuku, I don't know, I don't want to be a bother. Rei, it's the least I can do for killing my abusive husband. She sighed as she was standing inches away from him. Izuku, are you sure? Rei, yes. Izuku, okay then. Rei, great, she says as she clapped her hands together. Rei, I have the ingredients we need to make candy apples, we can make them at my house. Izuku, okay, he says as they both walk to her house together side by side. Time skip, they arrive at the Todoroki's house. They walk up to the front door and Rei unlocks it. Rei, please take your shoes off and hang your jacket right there, she says as she points at the coat rack. Rei, I'll go get the ingredients ready while you make yourself comfortable, she says as she leaves to the kitchen. Izuku, okay, he says as he takes his jacket off and hangs it up. He crouches down to take off his shoes but notices a white cat staring at him. Izuku, cat. Izuku continues to take his shoes off while the cat continues to watch Izuku. Once he's done, he puts his shoes against the wall and sees the cat is still staring at him. He walks up to it and crouches down to it. Izuku goes to pet it but it backs its head away. Izuku, I won't hurt you, he whispers to the cat as he tries to let the cat again. The cat is hesitant at first but lets Izuku pet it. As Izuku runs his hand over its soft fur, he could feel it purr against his hand and he kinda likes it. He picks the cat up and continues to pet it as he goes to the kitchen. He sees Rei wearing an apron and is ready to make some candy apples. Rei, okay, I got everything, she says to herself as she sees Izuku enter the kitchen with her cat. Rei, oh, I see you found Snowball, she says as she pets Snowball. The cat purrs as it rubs its head against her hand. Rei, I think he likes you, she says as she smiles at Izuku. Izuku, I like him too, he says as he puts Snowball down. Rei, alright, are you ready to make some candy apples, she says as she gives him an apron. Izuku, yeah, he says as he puts it on. Rei, alright, let's begin, she says as her and Izuku start to make candy apples. Time skip, they have finally finished making candy apples and they look delicious. God DMN, those look good, drooling face. Rei, wow, they look amazing. Izuku, they do, he says as he is a mess. Rei, how did you get so messy? Izuku, I don't know, he says as he takes his apron off. As he does, Rei notices his black t-shirt is a mess. Rei, oh no, your shirt. She says as Izuku looks down to his shirt. Izuku, it's okay, it's just a stain, he says as he licks the tip of his thumb and tries to wipe it off. It doesn't work as it just makes it more messy. Rei, I could wash it if you want. Izuku, no, it's okay, you don't have to do that, Rei, please, I insist. She says as she is looking up to Izuku in his eyes. Izuku, okay, he says as he has a small blush on his face. Rei, great, let me put these candy apples away first. She says as she goes to wrap the candy apples up. As SHS does, Izuku begins to take off his shirt while her back is turned on him. Rei, okay, I finished. She says as the candy apples are wrapped up. Rei, now can you please give me your shirt so I can, she says as she turns around to see Izuku's muscular body as it is also covered with scars. Rei, she doesn't know what to say. On one hand she is worried for Izuku as she can see every scar on his body. But in the other hand, she is blushing as she is staring at his abs. Izuku, are you okay? He says as he walks up to her, making her blush slightly grow on her face. Izuku, your face looks red, he says as he rests the back of his hand on her forehead. She is extremely flustered as her face is brighter than Rudolph's nose. Rei, I am okay. She says as she covers her face. Rei, see, could you please give me your shirt? She says as she sticks her hand out while still covering her face with the other hand. Izuku places his shirt in her hand as she takes it and runs out of the kitchen in a blushing mess. Izuku, what was that about? He says as he looks at Snowball. The cat just licks its paw as it lets out a meow. Izuku, meanwhile, we see Rei putting his shirt in the washing machine along with her apron. As they are washing, Rei leans against the wall and covers her face with her hands. Rei, I almost passed out. She thinks to herself as she is blazing hard. Rei, why is he so handsome? She thinks to herself as she slides down to the floor, sitting down. She slides her hand down their mouth, covering her mouth as her blush begins to calm down. Rei, he has a lot of scars, what happened to him? She thinks to herself as she is worried for Izuku's condition. Her thoughts are interrupted as she hears the washing machine stop. She gets up and takes the clothes and puts them in the dryer. Rei, I should see how he's doing, she tells herself as she goes to check on Izuku. Rei, I just realized I never asked his name. As she goes into the living room, she sees Izuku sitting on the couch staring down to the floor. Rei, why, your shirt will be finished soon. She says as she sits a few feet from Izuku. Izuku, okay, thank you, he says as he continues to stare at the floor. There's an awkward silence in the air as Rei is trying to find something to say. Rei, I noticed I never got your name. She says as she rubs the back of her neck. Izuku, it's Izuku, Rei, oh okay. She has her hands on her knees as she continues to think of something to say to break the silence. Rei, have you ever cooked before? Izuku, I did once with my girlfriend Rei, oh Izuku, but we don't talk anymore, he says as he starts to look upset. Rei, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't know, Izuku, it's okay, she just didn't like how I killed Endeavor, Rei, she knew. Izuku, yeah, but how can I blame her? He says as he holds his head up with his head. Izuku, I'm a monster, Rei, what, no you're not. She says as she scoots next to him. Rei, you're a good person. She says as she grabs his hands. Rei, just because you killed a bad man doesn't make you a monster. Izuku, you've killed people, Rei, with good intentions, she says as she rests her hand on his shoulder while still holding his hand with the other. Rei, you're a good person who has done bad things to make a better future for everyone. She says as she holds Izuku's cheek that rested on his shoulder and faces him towards her. Rei, so you're not a monster, you're my hero, she says as she slowly kisses Izuku on the lips. Izuku's eyes widen as he could feel her soft lips press against his own. She broke the kiss and looked to Izuku's eyes to see his shocked expression. She realizes what she did and gets off of him. I'm sorry. She says as she scoots away from Izuku. Izuku, it's okay, you just caught me off guard, he says as he's blushing. He scoots over to her to reassure her that it's okay. Izuku, it's fine, I just didn't expect it, he says as he lifts her chin up. Izuku, I didn't know you liked me either, he sighs as he kisses her back. Her eyes widen in shock that he kisses her back. She slowly began to kiss him back as she moved her hand to his cheek and held it. She closed her eyes as she could feel Izuku's warm body against her. He leans forward, laying Rei on her back with her head resting on a pillow. He breaks the kiss as his finger moves the stand of her hair out of the way. She holds his hand that rests on her cheek and has a soft smile. Rei, your hands are soft, she says as she rubs his hand with her thumb. Izuku, your lips are softer, his words causes her to blush as she covers her face with her hand. Izuku slightly smiles as he moves her hand off her face. Izuku, he kisses her again, only this time he slides her tongue through her lips. Her eyes widen as she could feel his tongue swirl in her mouth. She kisses him back as Izuku holds her hands against the couch, pinning her to the couch. He broke the kiss. A trail of saliva was connected to each other's mouths. Rei was breathing heavily while looking at Izuku, who was pinning her. He went up to her ear and nibbled on it, making Rei shudder a bit. He then made his way down to her neck. He liked her neck as well as nibbling on it a bit. She bit her bottom lip as she tried to keep herself from Before he left her neck, he kissed her collarbone, making her let out a soft Rei, Izuku left her neck full of his saliva as he looked up to her. Izuku, did you like that? Rei, why yes, she says as Izuku kisses her cheek. Izuku, good, he says as he lets her hands go. She is kinda disappointed he stopped. Well, that's what she thought. Izuku, do you want to continue? He says as he gets off the couch and offers her his hand. Rei slowly nods as she takes his hand. He pulls her up and grabs her butt. She slightly jumps up as Izuku lifts her up and kisses her on the lips. She kisses him back as she wraps her arms and legs around him. He carries her to her room as they continue to make out. He opens the door and enters the room, closing the door behind him with his foot. Lemon warning, lemon warning. Warning lemon. He lays her on the bed with him on top of her and breaks the kiss. He has his hands on her waist and slides his hands under her shirt. She closes her eyes as she can feel Izuku's hands run against her stomach to her BR. He slides his hands under her BR, she lets out a soft as she covers her mouth to keep her muffled. He squeezes them as he moves her shirt above her chest. She as she holds Izuku's head against her chest while covering her mouth. As he starts, she runs her fingers through. He then stops as he sits up and takes her shirt off. She sits up and lifts her arms, making it easier for him to take her shirt off. Once her shirt is off, Izuku holds her sides as he runs his hands against her curves. She giggles as his hands tickle her a bit. He lays her back down as he licks her stomach. She giggles a bit as it tickles her, but it also pleases her too. As he is liking her, he makes his was to her, breathes and looks up to her. Izuku, can I touch you, don't dare? He asks as he wanted to be polite to her. Rei, why yes, she says as Izuku slightly nods his head and slowly slides his hands down her, breathes. He rubs his fingers against her panties as he could feel she was wet. She as she could feel Izuku's fingers rub against her panties. She hugged Izuku and dug her head into his neck. He petted her head and ran his fingers through her long white hair. Rei, Izuku, I'm gonna come. She as she was about to reach her limit. Izuku, it's fine, let it out, he says as he rubbed his finger against her panties faster. As she was about to come, tightened her grip on Izuku and came all over his hand. Rei, She out as her back arched and her legs stiffened. After she came, her back laid back down and was breathing hard. As he did, Rei was watching him and blushed at the sight of him liking her juices. Once he was done, he looked at Rei, who was out of breath as she was staring at him. He went up to her and kissed her with his tongue. She closed her eyes. He broke the kiss as he got off the bed and grabbed her legs. He pulled her to him a bit as her waist stoked on the edge. He grabbed her breathes and started to take them off. She straightens her legs out and her breathes slip off as Izuku pulls them. All she has left on were her white soaked panties. He gets on his knees and Rei sits up on the edge of the bed blushing. He spreads her legs and slowly kisses her thighs. She begins to breath heavier as Izuku gets closer to her as his tongue reaches her soaked panties. He licks the outside of her panties as his tongue could almost slip inside her. She as she could feel Izuku's warm tongue slide against her panties. Izuku stops liking them and moves her to the side and sees her. She blushes as she felt Izuku's finger brush against her V. He places both of his thumbs against her V and stretches it open, revealing the inside of her. She was breathing heavily as Izuku was playing with her. He then slipped his tongue in her V, causing Rei to let out a sharp Her hands clenched the side of the bed as Izuku started. As he was liking her, he put his thumb over her CLT and began to run it. She started to even more as she had a weak smile on her face, along with a big blush. As she was a mess, Izuku was just thinking about how she good is Izuku, vanilla. She was about to come again, but before she did, she wrapped her legs she cam all over his face, and as she did she let out a loud as she was hunching over Izuku's head. After she finished, her legs fell off of Izuku's shoulder and she fell back on the bed. Izuku slowly backed from her V as he wipes his face off with the blanket. Rei realized what she did and weakly sat up to check on Izuku. Rei, Izuku, are you okay? Izuku, Rei, I am so sorry, I didn't mean to. As she was apologizing, Izuku stood up and held her cheek. Izuku, it's okay, he said to her with a small smile. Izuku, and you taste like vanilla. Rei, she blushed to that comment as she didn't expect Izuku to say such thing. As she was blushing, Izuku stretched as he picked up her shirt from the floor. Izuku, I think the clothes are done washing. Rei, oh right, she says as she is disappointed she didn't get to go all the way with Izuku. She puts on her shirt but forgets to put a bra on. Izuku notices she is upset and hugs her from behind. Izuku, what's wrong? You seem upset. Rei, too, kinda wished we went all, she says as she has a small blush on her face. Izuku, I see, so you're not pleased. Rei, no, I mean I am, but you and not really. She says as she is a blushing mess. Izuku, I see, he says as he kisses her neck from behind. Rei, oh, she says as she holds his cheek as he kisses her neck from behind her. Izuku, don't worry, I'll make sure you're satisfied, he says as he slowly turns her around and lifts her up. He lays her on the bed and started to take off his belt. Once he got his belt off he took his briefs off, leaving only his underwear on. Rei was blushing as she stared at Izuku's pages. Izuku got on the bed and held Rei's waist in his hands, slowly making his way to her panties. He grabbed them and slid them off of her, showing her wearing nothing but a shirt with nothing underneath. She started to get nervous. Izuku is about to put it in but she blocks her V with her hand. He looks towards her and notices she is scared. Izuku, sorry, did I go too far? He says as he backs away from her. Rei, no. She says as she grabs his hand. Rei, I am just nervous it won't fit, she says as she is shaking. Izuku, I see, he says as he goes back in the position he was previously in. Izuku, I'll start slowly by putting my tip in, okay? He says as he looks up to her. She nods as she uncovers her V. Izuku gets on top of, she blushes as she feels the tip. He slowly started to push the tip inside her and struggled to get it in. Rei, Izuku, are you okay? He sighed as he checked on her. She nods as she is covering her mouth. Izuku, okay, I'll try to go a bit further, he says. She let out a painful as Izuku looked at her worried if she was okay. Izuku, CRP, are you okay? He says as he could see her tearing up. Izuku, I did mean to hurt you, we should stop before I hurt you anymore, he said. Rei, no. She sighed as she grabbed Izuku's hand. Rei, I'm fine, please don't stop, she says as her tears ran down her cheek. Izuku, Rei, I don't want to hurt you, he says as he holds her cheek and wipes her tears away with his thumb. Rei Izuku, she says to him as she holds his hand and smiles. Rei, I'm so glad you care about me, but I'm finito, please don't stop, even if it hurts Izuku, She holds his cheek with her hand. Rei, please, let me show you how much I love you, she says as she kisses him on the lips. He kisses her back, she holds his hand and squeezes his hand, bearing the pain she's feeling. She could tell his is still worried about her and breaks the kiss. Rei Izuku, she says his name as she rests her arms on his shoulders. Rei, you don't have to worry, I'll be fine, she says as Izuku slowly nods his head. He starts to move inside her, causing her to softly. Every time he moves into her, she lets out a soft of pleasure. Izuku holds her waist and continues to trust her while Rei grips onto the blanket. Her get louder and Izuku starts to go faster. Rei, Izuku. She his name as her back starts to arch. Izuku slides his hands to her back and pulls her to him. He sits her on his lap and holds her waist and kisses her neck. She lets out a as she holds his head against her neck and starts to ride Izuku. As he is kissing her neck, he slides his tongue down her neck to her collarbone, kissing it as he stopped at her chest. She as she could as he continues to please her, she felt like she was gonna come any moment. She leaned forward and played Izuku on his back. She broke the kiss and sat up. She closed her eyes as she felt Izuku hold her hands. She used his hands to keep herself sitting up as she was leaning forward. As she was riding Izuku, she was facing down to Izuku. He could see her cleavage bounce as her shirt was maybe a bit too big for her. Rei, Izuku, I'm about to come. She as she started to speed up. Izuku, so am I. He says as he could feel her grip tighten against his hands. Rei, let's come together. Izuku sees this and is worried that she'll hurt her. Before he could say anything to stop her, she faces up to the ceiling as she could feel Izuku's cum fill. Once they finish, she falls into Izuku's chest and is breathing heavily. Izuku lets her hand go as he shakes her shoulder, worried if she got hurt. Izuku, Rei? He asked her as he looked at her face. She was asleep as she had a satisfied smile on her face. He sighed in relief. She winces in her sleep and it stopped Izuku. Izuku, I guess, I'm gonna be here for a while, he says as he covers themselves with the blanket. He pulls Rei up to his shoulder and kisses her on the forehead. She smiles in her sleep as she snuggles her head against his neck. He goes to call his dad but realizes something. Izuku, CRP, I forgot to grab my phone, he says as he looks to his right and sees it laying on the dresser. Izuku, I don't remember putting it there, he says as he grabs it. He takes it and notices a note on it. To Izuku, hey, you don't know me but I know you and I am the person who kinda brought this universe to life, but we'll get some other time. I noticed you forgot your phone in your breath, so I did you a solid and put it on the desk while you weren't looking. Tip, top 5. P.S. You're welcome. Izuku, who's tip-top? He asked himself as he took the note off his phone. Izuku, and how did he get past me without me noticing? He says as he stares at the note. Izuku, I should try and find him when I have the time, he thinks to himself as he puts the note on the desk. He turns his phone on and calls his dad. Doom guy, hey son, where are you? Eri is starting to get worried. Izuku, sorry dad, but I don't think I'll be able to get home today. Doom guy, why did something happen? Are you hurt? Izuku, and no dad, I'm fine, I'm staying over at a friend's house but it's kinda late, so she offered me to stay for the night. Doom guy, oh, okay Izuku, but she also helped me make candy apples for Eri, so could you come pick them up? Doom guy, of course son, just send me the location and I'll come pick them up. Izuku, alright, thanks dad. Doom guy, and she, He sighed with a racing tone. Izuku could feel his smirk on the other side of the phone. Izuku, by dad, he sighed as he heard Doom guy laughing on the other side of the phone before hanging up. Izuku sighed as he put his phone back on the desk. He let out a yawn as he started to stretch his arms, taking his arm off of Rei. Rei Izuku, she sighed as her smile slowly started to disappear. He looked down to her and kisses her on the cheek as he wrapped his arm around her. Her warm smile came back as she snuggled against Izuku. Izuku, don't worry Rei, I'll never leave your side, he says as he puts his arm behind his hand and slowly fell asleep.